taught me something in Montreal about the dry drunk. I didn't know about that.
Yeah.
I had never heard of that.
What's this?
Can you explain the dry drunk? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you can be sober, but if you're not working some kind of program, it's a nightmare.
That made so much sense when you said that.
So there's a lot of people who stop using drugs and drinking who are addicts. I'm not talking about people who are like, you know what, I drink a little too much, I'm going to stop. Like, I'm talking about someone who is clearly an addict who has an addiction problem and the personality of an addict like me. So there's been times when I've stopped using drugs and alcohol, but I didn't work a program. I didn't look at the reasons that made me, the deep down issues that made me use drugs and alcohol and other things. And I didn't work on those core issues, but I gave up the substances. And I was a nightmare to be around.
So it just goes in another area.
Exactly.
Right.
You are all those other things, and you're not using the drugs and the alcohol to suppress it. So you're a fucking nightmare.
Right.
So as an addict, I am very self-centered. I can be very selfish. I lie. I do things that are not honest. Liar, cheater. I don't keep my word a lot. It sounds crazy that I'm saying all these things, but kind of like I'm the piece of shit in the center of the universe. That's a good description of an addict. Just very selfish. And so when I'm working a program, when I'm looking at my character defects, when I'm doing service, like when I'm working a program and I'm helping others a lot. I'm doing a lot of service. I'm trying to help other alcoholics and addicts. I am getting outside of myself, right? I am a much better person. I am a much better person to be around. I am there for my kids more. I am just a kinder, more empathetic person. And I'm not so focused on Jessica and what Jessica needs. And I'm not in my head as much. I'm not negative. I'm more positive. I'm just easier to be around because I'm not with Jessica.
Right. I get it. That when you told me that, I was like blown away. I never thought. And then there's some people I know, it just puts a lot of things in perspective. You're like, oh, I get that now.
If you think about it and you really think about who you know and who are addicts who maybe aren't using drugs and alcohol, it'll make a lot of sense to you.
Right. It makes a lot of sense. And we're comics, so it's like, the question's more like, who isn't that? There's I know 3 that aren't.
Right.
It's like most people who do comedy have addiction problems.
Right.
Yeah.
So comics who work a program, who help a lot of other people, who work on steps, and who I'm involved in a program and I do a lot of work in it, and I'm doing great. Now there's again been times I haven't. And by the way, when I haven't done that, I've eventually always ended up using drugs and alcohol again.
Right.
Every single time I've relapsed.
Right.
There hasn't been a time when I haven't relapsed.
So it's very important for addicts to be in service of other people. That's
because we're self-centered.
That's the therapy of it.
Yeah.
And that's
it's all about giving to other people.
Right.
And it could be anything. Right. It could be helping someone cross the street. I'm not talking about it just because we're so self-centered.
Right.
It's a disease of the mind.
Right. That's probably good advice for everyone, but probably dire advice for someone who's an addict.
It is because we have a self obsession. I'm not judging myself. It's a disease like having diabetes or anything. We have to take medicine to deal with diabetes, right? My medicine is my program. So if I don't do it, I'm going to be sick, and it means I'm going to be sick in my head.
Right.
And it's really true. When I start creeping away from it, I start thinking very negatively, dark. My thoughts get really fucked up. And then when I start doing the work again, like calling someone who's struggling, right, with drugs and alcohol, if I call someone and reach out to them and how are you? Do you need any help? I swear to God, my day turns around and it gets better.
Interesting.
That's incredible.
That's great perspective for anyone who struggles with any of that. And that is great advice for anyone who struggles with that, because that's really the only way. I guess that's why AA is one of the and NA, and it works, right? For the most part, it works.
People will put it down
Those people are dry drunks.
Right. You're not supposed to go on radio and film and sit and talk about it. I will just say that I've tried everything on my own. I've tried therapy. I've tried everything. All I can say is I have almost died from addiction many times. And I look like, Jessica, so fun, and I'm so powerful on stage and this great career and everyone loves me. And I have come close to death so many times where it's gotten so bad, where I've been on drugs laying in my bed, where I've felt myself losing my life. And I've come back, literally felt myself and prayed, oh my God, please don't let me die. So, and I could have lost my family so many times. I've driven so wasted, drunk, on drugs. I have done so many things that are so dangerous, where I've gone in the middle of the night in my car to the projects, where I've had a gun pulled on me. I mean, these things, you look at me, you're like, what? Are you fucking kidding me? Isn't it crazy that you're hearing me say this?
Yeah.
So I've been desperate to the point where I've tried so many times just to say I can do it myself, and I can't, because I've ended up relapsing. The only thing that's worked for me is a program. It's the only thing. I've proven it to myself.
Yeah, and you're right. I have a friend who very close to me, couldn't get closer, who lost that way. Mm-hmm. Who lost that way. Mm-hmm. Every time I talk about it, it'd be like, that's not for me. The program's not. It doesn't work. I do it, and it didn't work that way. It didn't. And what you're saying is true. Unfortunately, he lost.
Yep.
He lost big, and it was because he never stayed in that. When he was in that program, when he was in service of others doing that thing, it worked. And then the other times he was just lying to himself. He was able to function for a while.
Well, we great liars.
Lying until it just completely fell off the wagon. And it's just a nightmare now. It's like I try not to think about it. But
yeah, it happens brutal. Constantly. My wife is an addictions therapist, and she deals with teens and young adults. And I can't tell you how many funerals she's been to. It's a nightmare.
Now, in your relationship with her, does she try to,
She doesn't, which is
she's
great.
Like, Jessica,
my mom did that my whole life.
Want to put down the popcorn.
Yeah, Jessica.
She did say, she said last week, I saw a bag of Skinny Pop in the back seat. I'm like, shut the fuck up. She jokes with me about it, but she's been sober 16 years, and she's amazing. And she, I don't know how.
Oh, so she's also an addict.
Yeah,
okay,
she's been sober 16 years, which is unbelievable. And I don't know how she deals with teens and young adults, because that is by far the hardest group to deal with. Yeah. Because talk about how hard. Can you imagine, like, your teens trying to get sober? Forget it.
Because they haven't hit any rock bottom.
Like,
yeah, they're just like, they're having fun still.
Right. And then you're still like, all the kids are going to parties and all this other shit. But
they don't got bills to pay and real responsibilities to. They don't have anything really to fuck up yet.
Right. And what's a bottom to that? Exactly.
Yeah.
So, it's very, very hard, but it's great that we support each other. I mean, I'm very lucky, but it's very, very hard to stay. Who's that?
That's you. Tears of a Clown, baby.
Oh.
It's my dad's first painting when he got back from Korea.
Really?
Yeah. So he said that was a self-portrait. He's a sad clown.
Oh my
That's
God.
why it's right there.
That picture is incredible, Yannis.
It's one of my prized possessions, yeah. It's his first painting that he did of a person, or I don't know. That's what he told me. It's a better story that way.
Person in Korea or person?
No, it's
mental
him.
stroke?
He came back from Korea. He went to a mental hospital.
I think that's incredible.
Yeah, and
he went to a mental hospital.
Yeah.
And he drew that picture
because he had back then they called it shell shock. But you get the rash, and it starts to like the trauma manifests on your body. And so he got the rash and all that, and then he had to go for like a month or two. Yeah, he had PTSD. He saw some stuff.
My mom is an art therapist. She would love to see that.
Take a pic. Tell her.
Yeah, I am.
I'd like to go see your mom. She would fucking break me down.
She'd break you down.
She's good, right? I bet you she's good.
Amazing.
Yeah.
She's amazing.
Yeah.
There's been comics who've seen my mom.
Really?
Yeah. I've given comics my mother's number a lot have seen my mom, and she doesn't even tell me when they go to her. Can you believe this?
Well, that's
a lot of newer comics.
That's a good therapist.
She's unbelievable. That's how like old school she is.
Yeah.
So someone will come to me months later and be like, "I've been seeing your mom for months," and I'm like, "What?" You've like been to my house or like been,
Yeah.
She has never told me.
That's
that someone's gone to
amazing.
see her.
Yeah, I'm in therapy, and I need to be in therapy.
Yeah, me
it's
too.
it's something that I need to do,
Yeah.
and when I'm doing it, it's just because I don't know if I have the addictions, but I have the obsessive personality. I can be self-absorbed. All the elements you're talking about. I think my addictions are to my thoughts or something.
I don't
know.
think I know you pretty well, and I don't see you as an addict.
Yeah.
But I think that you just have anxiety.
Yes.
And that can be very self-consuming.
Yes. You're the daughter of a therapist. You have it in you too a little bit. You see people.
Are you kidding me?
You see
oh,
fucking
yeah,
people.
No, well, I studied to be a therapist. I went for a master's in social work.
You're dressed like one right now.
And I'm married to one.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've been in therapy since I'm 8.
Well, that
Yeah. Yeah.
the mic.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's- yeah.
I've been in therapy since I'm 8. So yeah.
Since you were 8?
Since I'm 8, mostly on. So crazy.
That's
so
crazy. Your mom got you started early.
early.
Yeah.
Drew Barrymore of therapy.
Yeah.
So I mean, there's been years when I haven't gone, but like I usually stay, and like right now I go like every 2 weeks.
You're like the Tiger Woods of therapy.
Yeah.
Like, you know, Tiger Woods' dad just put a golf club in his hand.
I know, that's
your mom just
hilarious.
put you on a sofa.
Yeah.